Okay. Okay, which method is the easiest one? Take square roots because there's no b. So take square roots. So if I'm taking square roots, that means I'm going to start by getting everything but the squared out of there. So I'm going to subtract 25 on both sides. So x squared equals negative 25. Then I square root. How does the square root of negative 25 simplify? Good. But then anytime I square root, I have the positive and the negative. There's my two answers. Yep, anytime I square root, positive and negative.
And then does it matter if you put like the 5, I mean the I in front?
No. It will on Canvas though. I don't know. It's just on Canvas, like everything has to be like normal. So that's why I always write it like that there, because on Canvas it doesn't understand I5 and 5i are the same thing. Okay. Okay. Now, what about B? What's the easiest one on B? No. Complete the square because B is even. You could try and factor, but I'm telling you guys, you're so good at completing the square. That's the one to do when you can. Okay? So, complete the square. That's my extra box. So I take the 16 and I cut it in half. What is half of 16? Good. Now what? Multiply. 64, good. Now I need you to figure out how do I get from 64 to negative 15. Okay, subtract how much? 79. There we go. So then my vertex form is x plus 8 squared minus 79. I'd be done except for this one word right here, right? Solve. So now I need to start getting the x alone. So what's first? There we go, add 79. Now what? Yep, square root. It's always smart to check if 79 is a perfect square. It's not, sadly. So I got to think of a factor tree to simplify it, right? So can anybody come up with a number that goes into 79? Yeah, trick question because 79 is prime. There isn't any. So that means it's already simplified. So x plus 8 equals the square root of 79. And x plus 8 equals the negative square root of 79. The plus or minus happens on the square root. Almost. Is x alone? Subtract the 8. Yep. Subtract the 8. Good. So x equals negative 8 plus root 79. Okay.
They said that they're going to email you.
Okay. And x equals negative 8 minus square root 79.
Can you put the 8 behind something?
Sure. Okay, next. What's the best one for part C? What's the best option for part C? Nope. Quad formula. There's no GCF, right? And the A isn't 1. So I would quad formula. I wrote it there on the board, but you should also have your green papers out too. What's the A for my quad formula? 2. Good. B? There we go. And C is 15. Good. Okay, take a second and try your setup. Okay, I put our little ordered mnemonic device over there to help. So we've got, first we do denominator, right? So first we do denominator. So that's going to be 4. Hey, what are these? What happens here with these 2 negatives by that 13? Yeah, good. 13 plus or minus square root of something all over 4. So remember, under is our second thing. So make sure you're typing it in right instead of just copying down what I got. Remember our calculator hints, always put the B in parentheses, right? Watch your difference between your subtraction and your negative signs. Okay, next is radical. Does that simplify that radical? Good, to 7. Next is reduce. Is there anything that goes into 13, 7, and 4 evenly? Nope, so I don't need to worry about the reduce. So now I'm on split and simplify. So x equals 13 plus 7 over 4, and x equals 13 minus 7 over 4. So 13 plus 7 is 20 over 4. So the first answer for x is going to be 5. And then 13 minus 7 is 6 over 4. So 3/2 is my second answer. If you need more room for D, we're not going to do F, so you can just do it there if you need. Okay. All right. Which method should we use for D? Factoring, because that has a GCF. So let's start by getting rid of the 2. Then I'm going to do my regular box for factoring. So this one is factoring. Forgot to write. This one was complete. The square. And this one was quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm looking for two numbers. They have to add to -5, but multiply to +6. Good job. -3 and -2. So that helps me decide how to split that -5 in my box. Now I'm going to take out my GCFs in each row and column. So my factored form is going to be 2x minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. Now, if it didn't say the word solve, I'd be done, right? But it does. Anybody remember how to solve by factoring? This is the easiest one, right? How do I solve by factoring? Good, Zaxon. You take each parenthesis, each factor, and make it equal 0. That's the zero product property. If one of them's 0, they're both 0. The 2, because there's no x in it, isn't going to give us an answer. Okay. Is x alone? Am I done?
No, you have to add 2.
Good. Add 3 on each side. And add 2 on each side. All right, I want to review one more type so that you have all the different types on one page, but you got to make a change to E. So just cross off the 39. So pretend E was x squared minus 6x equals 0, so that you have an example of all the different types. Okay. Okay, which method should we use in this type? Nope. Factoring. Can't square root because the 6 has an x on it. So it's not the middle term that's missing, it's the last term, the constant that's missing. Okay? So when we factor ones like this, you don't have to use the box. You just factor out the GCF. What is the GCF? X. Good. So x times x minus 6 equals 0. I don't need to do a box because my quadratic is already done. Okay? So now I'm ready to solve by factoring, which is when I take each parenthesis like I did on this one, and I set it equal to 0, right? So now I'm going to take this factor and make it equal 0. Oh, no. This factor. Stop. Let's try this again. That factor and make it equal 0. And then that factor and make it equal 0. Do I need to do anything on this one to get the x alone to solve it? No, that one's done. What about on this one? Yeah. Okay, here's the deal. This is like I said, hopefully you guys realize this lesson was like the addition of all the last 2 months of work, right? The whole point of what we've been doing is that I can give you a quadratic, and no matter what it looks like, you can pick which is going to be the easiest way to solve it, and then you can solve it. That's the point, okay? So these 5 questions are one place that now you have an example of like everything that we've done, right? Okay, so you definitely, I think this in your green notes is a good place to start for studying and things, okay? Does anybody have any questions on any of the methods or anything they want to go over before I hand out homework? No? Awesome.